Now I'm very excited to welcome back Mr. Sean Higgs from winningfreepicks.com and Midday Money. You can follow Sean on Twitter at Mr. Sean Higgs. Sean, I cannot believe we are like past halfway in the NFL season, 3 quarters through the college regular season, my man. Where's the time go?
It's, you know what, everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to football, can't wait to football. Well, hello, it's Thanksgiving and bowl season is going to be starting up in a month, right? Probably a month and a week. They probably start, right? The first teen week of December. Yeah. Man, forget about that. Now it's like, I mean, it goes so fast. I got, my son's has a birthday coming up. I remember taking him home. He's senior in high school now. It goes so fast, man. Forget about football season, just life in general, like everything. I mean, it's week 11 of college football. They got what, 3 weeks left? It's gonna be rivalry week in 2 weeks.
It's getting deep, man. It's fun though, because it's more to talk about. 12 teams there, but college is always rolling with us and you. I think we're going to talk a little college at the very end of this. Let's see what.
All right, I was going to say, if you want to jump in, because I'm not a big playoff fan. I don't love all the teams in the playoffs.
Okay, well, I do, but there's different reasons for both, and I think I've been in that conversation enough. But we can talk about it at the end a little bit. But we got NFL, man, and NFL. It's a good week for the NFL. We got a great Thursday night game. Now, obviously, when this podcast drops, you'll be like, why are you talking about that, Kiev? It's just, if anyone's watching live, that's where we get you. And obviously, you can watch on YouTube. And that's why we do this. It's like if you want to watch it live and get the YouTube early, you can get a lean from us. I definitely lean the Bengals in this one. I mean, it's at +6 and the total's at 52.5. It's dropped a little bit. It was 53. I think 53 felt a little high for an NFL game personally, especially with 2 teams that know each other. But real quick, before we get into the show, anything on the Thursday night?
Yeah, well, listen, Giv, you know me. I've been on before, and I like to get in early. I'm doing, I do my look at lines on Sunday night, but I actually sometimes do on Wednesday. I do like a little looky because the lines come out on Wednesday. I got this at 48.5 when it came out for a total. So I'm on the over. As you said, though, 52, 53, I look at that as they're begging you to take the under. Like, that's a big NFL number. I mean, I know we're in a passing league, and it's supposed to be more offense. That is still, for NFL standards, a big number. I still like the over, and I'm with you on the points there, right? Because we saw them play, 2 weeks ago? Cincy got up big at home early. Ravens come back. The Ravens defense is not vintage Ravens defense. They give up points, whether they're jumping out to big leads or just blowing leads. They're going to give up 20-plus here, right? So you're going to be in the area to cover backdoor-wise if it's not a 3-point game like they usually play. Like, I think this is like a 34-30, 37-24. It's going to be, somewhere where someone's going to get a shot to either get a big 10-point win or close that gap into a field goal area. So taking the points, why not? Cincinnati comes on strong always. So
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. The only thing that worries me is that Baltimore is improved on the run. Cincinnati, they definitely improved their defense against the run a little bit, but I'm not sure if they can handle Baltimore. I every day the year I would take this normally. I'm a little worried about T. Higgins. I think I like the tall receiver there that kind of bails him out. That bums me out a little bit. If they're not stupid, they're going to be double covering Jamar Chase, putting a safety over the top of him at least. I still like Chase to get the most yards though, and I do have that prop, and hopefully we do hit this prop. It's Chase just the most yards for the game. That's all I said. The most receiving yards is fine. I got him at plus 105. He's minus 125 on Bet Online. He's plus 105 on FanDuel. It's probably coming down. So that's one I like. If you're watching live, you can maybe tail that and yell at me tomorrow. So that's that's what I'm looking at. But we got a lot to talk about. What's funny about the Chiefs, man? It's like they're a weird team to me. I heard a stat this week that they're only 18th in out of all the teams that have been 8-0. They're only ranked 18th, and I think that's got to be close to the bottom of the barrel since in DVOA, and that's since DVOA came out, obviously. But that's not a surprise to me. The Chiefs just do what it takes to win a game.
Exactly.
I do respect that, but I have to ask you, man, when's the Chiefs going to lose? When do you think they're going to lose? They do have the Broncos this week, obviously big favorites, but at Buffalo next week, at Carolina the week after. Home against the Raiders, I can't see that. But then you get the Chargers going there. Chiefs at Browns, that's a win. Texans at Chiefs, probably a win. Chiefs at Steelers, that's a little cute, but probably not. And then they ended up with the Broncos. I'm curious when they get that first L.
Well, I mean, look at it this week. So they're almost a double-digit favorite against the Broncos. You figure they win that one, and they just have to win, folks, right? Because this is what Kansas City does. They're big faves like this. They're going to win by 6 or 7. Kind of they play down, but then you saw them last week just go destroy a team there when they have a shot. You mentioned their DVOA. As good as I think they are defensively, you hear something like that, you're like, wow, are they that bad? Like this is a defensive team since Hill left. They're not as explosive. First, is it going to be in 2 weeks? Like the easy spot would be in 2 weeks versus the Bills, right? Buffalo's got their revenge for last year. Or would that be a spot? I don't know, because I think everybody's going to think that. And I tried this last year. I had the Bills against them in the playoffs, thinking, hey, it's revenge time. You got them at home. This is your time. Nope, didn't happen. I took Baltimore the week after that. Oh, I don't care that Kansas City's an underdog. Here's your revenge time. You got them at home for a champion. No, it didn't happen. 49ers, here's your Super Bowl revenge. You got them. You're favored, actually. You're supposed to win. Didn't happen. I'm looking at them. I actually think they'll win in Buffalo. I'm going to look at, believe it or not, you mentioned at the Browns. Can they cough one up to Cleveland? Like Cleveland can come out and play a little tough there. That one shocked me there. But I really think the key is as they keep going, piling up the wins, Kiev, eventually when it gets to the end of December, they're going to be in a rest spot, and especially last week. I'm not going to go to finishing up at home, at Denver or even the Houston game at home. I'm gonna pick out Christmas Day. They're playing on Wednesday at Pittsburgh, and granted, they're not playing Sunday; they play Saturday. But still, that means you're going from a Sunday to a Saturday to a Wednesday, short, condensed. If they're undefeated, it'll be with pressure undefeated season. Does that matter to Kansas City? I don't think so. Andy Reid does not care about that nonsense. He's like, we're just going to try to win, and that's it. We win 40-0. We win 13-6. We don't care. But the Pittsburgh spot, I think, is the spot where it could lose. That would be my pick. Because I don't want to just go easy and say, all right, Buffalo's a good team. I'm going to think they kind of get past that. They beat up the teams they're going to beat up. Pittsburgh on the road. Pittsburgh always has a defense. It is Christmas. A little Christmas miracle there possibly, but also just the scheduling spot. It's a triply short week for them. That is tough.
I love how you broke that down. I mean, that makes so much sense with the scheduling spot going from Sunday to Saturday to Wednesday. It's such a weird spot, and it's a great one to pick up. I'm going to say that the Chiefs are going to lose this week against the Broncos. Fuck the Chiefs. Let's move on to the.
You're really not even wasting time. Like, screw it. I'm picking this week. I like the dog outright for that.
Oh, I did say it, man. I don't know that. Let's talk about a buy low team, my man. It's funny in the NFL. It's like sometimes you have this team that's just fadeable, and it's not a spot you might want to fade them, or maybe it is this week. But or sometimes you want to buy low on a team, and it doesn't have to be this week because maybe you're afraid of the matchup or something. But give me a buy low team right now, and we'll go sell high after that. But what do you think is a good buy low team with respect to the market and your rankings?
Yeah, and I was looking at a couple things, and I was with like Mark Lawrence doing a show last week, and we're talking about stuff like this. I said, what about the Jets to make the playoffs, right? And he's like, absolutely not. No, even running the table, or even with one loss at Buffalo, they're still 10-9. But could it be a buy-on spot? And this is why I use them here because also the team they're playing Arizona. Like this is a game for either one of these squads that could catapult them into is it a buy, right? Is Arizona for real, or are they keeping a big win, a bad loss, a win, a loss? And the Jets, what's there to say about the Jets? Part of me wants to buy them just based on their schedule, just on who they have coming up to put together wins. Now, forget about playoff stuff, but can they compile some wins? You have Arizona, again, an up and down squad. Home versus the Colts they got their own quarterback problems. Seattle, on the road, they got some injury. Who knows how they play? They got Miami and the Jaguars, two teams that got some, is Tua, he could be knocked out by then. I don't know what that Miami team is. How's Miami doing? They're not a good squad. Jaguars, home versus the Rams. So I got Stafford, a dome guy who's now playing in LA, coming in December before Christmas to play at the Meadowlands. I mean, you could easily win those 6 in a row. I think you could buy on them to look for right. We're looking at buying and trying to cover kind of teams there. I like that. Another team I wanted to tell you about is Tampa Bay. I'm always high in Tampa Bay. Had a Tampa Bay a 10-1 win the conference, the division last year. Here's another one. So they got San Fran here at home. They're an underdog. Could they lose this? Yeah, they could lose, but San Fran's in no great shape. They're 500 themselves. They got their own as much as Mike Evans hurts, and they got problems. Godwin. San Fran's got a whole list of guys out as well. Do they win it? I don't know. But I look who they got coming up after that. The Giants, Carolina, Las Vegas, Dallas, Carolina, and the Saints. A tough one. Dallas with no quarterback. Again, you'll be on the road at Dallas. You're on the road at the Chargers. But are you telling me you can't go 6-1, 7-1, or 6-2 down that stretch there and get to another 10 wins? Or maybe you pull out the win against the Chargers. Because, okay, the Chargers, people are, Herbert's great. This is still a run team, a defense team. It's a hardball. This is how he runs a team, right? Quarterback, manager, run the ball, defense. Tampa Bay could steal a game. I saw him, so I'm going Detroit and beat it. You don't know how the Chargers are going to be playing in. Tampa Bay's a team, chalk up some wins coming down the stretch, I think is one of them. And my last one I want to say here, as a team not to make the playoffs, the Vikings. I love the coach. We'll talk about this in beer bets in a little bit here. Coordinator, good, right? Turned it around, looking really well. But has the league caught up with Darnold now? Nice hot start, right? You think they're sitting pretty now, but I don't know. A couple losses here and there, not to make the playoffs. There's a lot of meaty 500 kind of teams in there. So that I jump into a bunch of wiggle room to see who has tiebreakers in November 1st or wherever we are here to see what's going to look at January. No, but hey, at 275, it could be worth a little look at that. Who knows? It's still Sam Darnold. I know he's getting a shot, but maybe no on the Vikings in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I see chinks in the armor. They just have so many good receivers that kind of keep them alive a little bit. And they're overachieving for sure. I think they do make the playoffs, but it's just going to be, they're a fade team to me, kind of coming down the stretch here. There's a couple different buy low teams that I kind of like here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think Jacksonville, believe it or not, is a buy low team. And I don't know if the team's playing for Doug Peterson or not. That's hard for me to gauge about the locker room. I mean, they had this team had Urban Meyer before. You have to remember that's so bad. But you get a 7 now. It's and we'll get to this game. But Mac Jones going from Trevor Lawrence and his head problems. Trevor Lawrence should have won that game. He just threw a pick at the end. It's like, dude, what are you doing? It's first down. You're controlling the clock. You can beat the Eagles while getting outgained by a million freaking yards, and this is what you do. Yeah. I mean, what's the downgrade from Trevor Lawrence to Mac Jones? I don't think it's that much. So we'll talk about that game. But I think Jacksonville's a little bit of a buy low in this situation. And sell high, man, there's a few of them. I think, Chicago Bears. And they're my team. I'm a Bears fan. But something is freaking wrong in this locker room. They're not allowed to say it because they literally got yelled at by the polls. And a couple other the presidents out there, Kevin Warren, they're not allowed to talk to the media like they started doing last week. They do not like Coach Eberflus. They do not like him at freaking all. And I'm telling you this, the Patriots are ugly, and this feels like a bounce back spot for the Bears, but the Bears are massively injured here. The Patriots playing with house money, where they got to freaking lose. They're going out there. The Bears are kind of a little bit embarrassed. They're 4-4. I think they're feeling some pressure. It's not like the Patriots have pressure to make playoffs. Now, I did not play this game yet, but I sure as hell would not play the Bears. I think the Bears are in a terrible spot. And sometimes the teams just purposely do not do anything till that coach is fired. They think he's a clown. I think Eberflus is a clown. I am out, dude, on Eberflus. And I'll tell you this, man. It's a smelly dog, but it's one that you might be like, damn. That really came through easily. That's what I'm looking at.
I took the Patriots +7 on Monday.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about the Bears? I was on another guy's show, and I said the Bears, like their win total 9.5. I said these guys will win like 5 or 6 games. They're terrible. And of course the Bears 5 games. You're crazy. Now listen, I looked at their schedule. 7 tops, maybe. And I said, I went through the schedule. I said, they're not winning at Arizona and Washington back-to-back road games. They could probably lose in England. They end up winning that. This is a bad team. I'm not sold on the Caleb Williams love because he had a good season. The next year against NFL Town and Pac-12, he looked terrible. I don't care about the defense. You could still outscore a team. He didn't. And it came that you just mentioned it. I said, they still have the same head coach who's terrible. I don't care about the new coordinator because the head coach is the guy making the plays. And you saw it last week. And I had Arizona last week, and people were like, the Bears, it's, tough. They were beating Washington. But that's what bad teams do. with 5 seconds or 7 seconds left for a guy to bust out a 50-something yard run on you.
My God.
That sums up the Bears coaching staff, and you're supposed to have a good coordinator or a good defense, whether they quit or it's just bad coaching. Let's be honest. Coaching's got a lot to do with it. There's no way I'm laying 7 with the Bears. Could they win this game? Listen, I had Tennessee week 1. That should have been a win in my pocket. You're winning game. You're not even scoring touchdowns offensively in your winning games. Those things balance out. You saw it in Washington. That kind of offset that crazy Tennessee win in week 1. Patriots, Patriots are going to play a little bit of defense, right? They're playing. Are we really sold on this Bears offense right now? I mean, they have a bunch of names. Okay, that doesn't mean you're going to put up points on somebody.
They're beat, man. They're beat down, and now they lost their other left tackle, maybe Darnell Wright. If he plays, he's going to be in pain. Braxton Jones. I don't see it. Is Montez Sweat going to play? He got stuck with a cleat 2 weeks ago, and he couldn't play last week because of pure pain. And he's like the run stuffer guy, and that showed really much last week. But Jaquan Brisker still out after concussion like a month ago. He's their best cornerback. There is a lot of injuries on this Bears.
I know they traded. Who they trade? Like the backup running back or somebody?
Yeah, Khalil Herbert, and he deserved to be traded because we weren't using him, and he's just as good as the other 2 guys. I don't even know why they bothered signing Swift, and they had Roshan Johnson. It was just another strange move from the Bears, but he didn't practice today. Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon is questionable still with this shit. This could be a really broken down Bears team coming in.
And I get fan bases get pumped up over teams. How the fact that they sold the fans that these guys were a playoff team winning 9 games. Yeah. Come on, listen. Forget about us betting on it, looking at a spot. How the heck could they come up with 10 wins on this team?
I don't know. I don't know.
A rookie quarterback on the road in the NFL. I don't care what team you're playing on and who's your head coach.
It's a rookie without a coach. He's lost out there and he feels it. I think I'm sure he wants to change to Shane Waldron as just
at best. A rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback on the road is going to go 4-4. At best, he might win half his games. At best, that's anybody.
Guess what? Guess what, Sean? We now don't have to cover this game because we just did. Let's move on to the Giants, Carolina Panthers. Panthers are a smelly plus 6.5, total 40.5. What do you have for this one?
Thought we were talking about bad teams. So we could continue on with the Giants of Carolina. I actually listen. I was doing a little review of this one. I said I want to take Carolina on the money line.
Is this in London or Germany?
This is in Germany.
Okay.
This is Germany. I said this game, the poor Germans are would you rather drink sauerkraut juice watching this game or even watch this game here? Like, really, the Giants of Carolina, this is what we got? Carolina zigzagging quarterbacks. Although I do like Carolina because how are the Giants? This team scores 17 points, 18 points a game on the road. They get a fluke 29 in Seattle off of a blocked field goal. They can't score offensively. That all being said, though, I want to go over to 40.5 here. Carolina goes over because the defense gives up points. It's just that simple. And are we sold on the Giants defensively or offensively? I'm not. Why? This game could just get to 23-20 and go over by accident, right? If Bryce Young, maybe Bryce Young found something and he's feeling good, and the players, let's be honest, they're all playing for jobs, right? Because probably the coach is going to be gone. There's changes coming to Carolina. I don't know if they'll fire the coach after a year or get rid of Young. Changes are on the horizon. But guys are still want to play, get paid to show whoever's coming in that I'm not a quitter. I think these guys are going to show up, play some offensively. And the Giants still they'll accidentally put up 15 points because that's what they usually do every week, right? 14, 18 points. 40.5, that's actually low for Carolina. And again, I guess it's adjusted for the poor offense of the Giants. But like I said, I want to say money line Carolina, and they'll be like, after they win, they'll be like, wow, that guy's really smart. But I don't want to be that guy like, oh, how could you do that? They're terrible. They just lost 30-6, But over, I think, is the safest out of all of them here if we're going to do anything here. Over to 40.5.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants defense, they're only 23rd in EPA. Obviously, Carolina 31st. The Jags are 32nd. But, I don't see how they're going to stop each other. They're very incompetent. You can see interceptions there. I wrote that down, Sean. I'm going to look a little bit more into that one. My algorithm comes up at 43, which isn't a massive difference, but it's something there. it's two incompetent teams, so you can never be true. But I'd rather do the money line though. I'm not taking a side in this game. I would definitely, I would do the plus money if anything. It's
right.
just an ugly game. The rule is two ugly dogs take the. You always take the points or money line in that situation.
Yeah.
Bills Colts.
I know you're we're talking like props earlier. How about a little Chuba Hubbard 2 touchdowns there for Carolina?
That man just got paid.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard, a couple TDs, at least one. Two will pay in the plus 300s.
Exactly. I think one is like plus 105 or something. That's why I said let's go 2.
I like that too. We'll listen to you, man. Just throwing out the props. I love it. Buffalo Bills versus Colts. Colts plus 4, total 47. I was on Buffalo -6 last week, and they just had to allow Miami to score last touchdown there. And I think it's Miami division game, and it was one of those that I wasn't loving before I got in the game. I'm like, oh great, I'm betting on a team that was just put through the ringer, and this is a total spot for Miami. I was thinking about my metrics said Buffalo, but that didn't freaking matter. It's just one of those that I just had to suck it up and take the L. But of course, he had the line value and everything. But the Colts in the same thing now. I feel weird now that Flacco is a starter and not coming in. It's almost like a different mindset. You kind of showed that last week. It's probably first of all, I'm not betting this one, but it would be Bills or nothing. It's that simple. I don't need to talk more about it.
I don't think you're wrong taking Miami last week. Like 6.5, you're thinking they've been terrible. Why isn't I see the 6.5 and I'm automatically like thinking taking dogs at 6.5 and 2.5 because the other team has to win by a field goal or a touchdown. So I always think dogs and that and favorites when it's 3.5, 7.5. So that wasn't a bad one, and they were right there. And you get a late one, it hurts. This one here, though, I'm against you. I kind of like the Colts, like how terrible they look. Hey, let's make a quarterback change, and we have 7 points going into the fourth quarter or late third quarter off of a defensive score. Like they looked absolutely terrible. So they look that bad. Buffalo looks awesome. Like, hey, how they stopping, Josh Allen, MVP form, but 4, I don't know, man. I think they're just begging you to take Buffalo. And again, I didn't bet this one. I have like 8 or 9 games up for Sunday. This isn't one of them, though. I do like the Colts, though.
All right, fine. That's great. We have some little disagreement. I slightly like the Bills. You slightly like the Colts.
Yeah.
Neither of us are betting.
I got. It's kind of like because it's just I look at the four. I'm like, as bad as they looked, I know they kind of scored late to make it interesting, but 4. This Colts team, I don't know.
And let's move on to this Vikings Jaguars because I just played this right before we got on the show. +7 is the number. Totals 44. This number's stupid. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is not worth more than 3 points to Mac Jones the way Trevor Lawrence has been playing. Trevor Lawrence is the reason they've been losing a lot of these games, just throwing picks and the Jaguars fumble the ball. But now you got the Jaguars. They're at home. The season's not over from a playing perspective. It's not like a spot where you just kind of give it all in. This is a spot where, like, hell, I'm playing the Vikings, more house money type situations, like low expectations. Mac Jones is actually – he had the worst offensive coordinator in the world in Matt Patricia.
Yes.
Over there. See, I don't think he's that bad. As a matter of fact, I was thinking to myself, is there a chance that they just bench Trevor now that they paid him $55 million? I think this is one of those, let's see what Mac Jones has and see if he's going to be valuable in the trade market. And Mac Jones thinking to himself, time for me to show up because this is my future in the NFL. I love the +7 now, man. It's a pretty sizable play for me. And I took it, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a little. I didn't grab this one yet. I'm going to take a touchdown here with the home dog. What are we doing here? Lawrence, I think, was what 2-13 on a 2-13 run as a starter, like just not playing all that well. And Mac Jones, if anybody's watching any of my shows, I talk about rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks in the NFL and how so much is expected of them, and we're going to yin yang Bryce Young or Richardson or whoever. Mac Jones had you mentioned Patricia. He had a defensive coordinator and a special teams coach as an offensive coordinator one year after. He looked pretty good his rookie year. These poor SOBs, and he went to New England and had a good head coach at Parcells and Belichick. These guys go to teams that are notoriously flawed, right? It's a new head coach comes in, right? It's a new head coach. We draft a quarterback. The team has flaws all over the joint holes. They don't get a shot. It's terrible. And yet I thought this was a great pickup because Lawrence, I wasn't a huge Lawrence guy. I already thought, oh, we'll give him a shot. He had who do you have? What was his name? You just mentioned his name. The Florida coach. Urban Meyer. Was it Meyer?
Urban Meyer.
Yeah. Like that guy's bad. He thinks it's college. He brings in his teammate or as a running back. You got a coordinator here. Mac Jones, as you said, playing for his NFL life. When he had decent guys, they have some talent around him. He's got decent guys around him. He'll have a real quote unquote coach coaching them up a little bit. How don't you like the point? And I mentioned with the Vikings earlier, I said I could see them as a buy against team as the film gets out on Darnold. Right, he was not that he was Mac Jones, but he got chased out of New York, bumped around a little bit. Maybe Mac Jones turned into something special out of this. But again, with Darnold, you're going on a road as a sizable favorite. I don't know if I trust you there. I don't know if I trust that as good as the defense is, we've seen them kind of get into little shootouts every once in a while. I could see this one turn into something wild. I'm going to take the touchdown with you.
All right, well, there you go, man. Looks like we have agreement on this one. And, it makes no sense to me. I think this closes at 6, so keep that in mind if you're watching live to check this baby. I don't understand the movement whatsoever, especially with the Vikings have so many bigger fish to fry later. It's for them to really.
Mac Jones has won games in the NFL. It's not like it's some guy coming off a practice squad.
Yeah.
That looks terrible. This guy's a starter. I mean, I know he's a Pro Bowler in the NFL. Doesn't mean much when 6 guys sit out and the other 3 guys make the playoffs, right? It's like guys, but he's produced in one game. You're giving me a touchdown with a team that's desperate and a guy playing for his life. Yeah, what could go wrong? Give me the 7. Here's another outlay. Here's another money liner for everybody.
Absolutely, sprinkle that money line on that one. So Falcons, Saints plus 3.5, total 46. So, there's no metric that can tell me that the Saints should be this small of a dog just because they've been injured all year. I don't know. If Carr just comes back last week, they're just hearing it from the media. But this is one of those creative coach got fired spots, and they pay. Coach got fired spots are paying money. That's why it's down to 3.5. I'm going to sit here and wait. I doubt it gets down to 3. But it's a spot where I just have to hold my nose and probably just bet the Saints based on the creative spot. This is still a division game. This is still a division dog. These Saints are playing for a lot when it comes to them. They're not like mathematically out of it. They got a couple receivers there now. As Valdez Scantling's there. I know Olave, no chance he's going to play after he got smoked last week. Yeah. But you still got Taysom Hill. The Saints have one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Alvin Kamara. If they can just kind of stink this game up a little bit, Falcons make a couple of mistakes, which we've seen Kirk Cousins prone to do. Falcons coming off a win against the Cowboys, even though it's the crap boys. It's not the real Cowboys, it's the crap boys, but still the name. It's kind of like talking about Michigan in the college football. It's still the name. So letdown spot for the Falcons. I am close to betting the Saints, but I'm greedy. I'm going to wait and see if I get a 4.5 again. It's 3.5 right now.
I took the Falcons early on this. I got them at minus 112, and I was under the impression. Listen,
the Saints get that.
That was last week. That was
funny. Okay, look at it.
Look at it. I do my look at lines. Okay, you know that. I'm saying take games early because it also goes into how I play that weekend's games too. Like I think things will happen. And listen.
You're on Carolina. Why not? Bet the look ahead if you really like Carolina last week. Why not?
I'm just getting back to 500 after doing like early season. This didn't pay off with me. The numbers, good numbers. I was losing. Now the last 3 weeks, I'm like 19-6 in NFL with the early numbers. So they're coming around. This one here though, even at 3.5, I'm going to lay it with the Falcons. I got Cousins who's rounding into shape. He started off slow because when he's 40 and he's coming off an ACL or whatever. So that's going to take some time for him to round into form. New team, new scheme, new receivers. That's all kind of working itself out now as it goes on. The Saints are a hot mess. You mentioned firing the coach. Most times, like the shoppers come in and be like, this is where you buy on a team like this, right? You would automatically just take this and the line would come. It hasn't moved. It's gone up. It was 3. It's gone up to 3. Like they're betting against the coaching bump.
There's been moves back and forth though this last day or two. Okay, 4 to 3.5, 4 to 3.5. There's a couple competing things going on from what I understand. Yeah. But no, I mean the movement to 3.5 and 4. I mean that's really what the big thing was. But you still got the Saints or the Falcons now past the key number of 3. So that's what you're playing with.
I know that the Falcon love to start the year, right? Easy pickings for them. The Saints, to me, though, I don't like Carr. Olave's out. Kamara's a hit away from being out. What is this team? You had Allen as a coach, great coordinator. maybe that hurts. As bad as the defense has been, maybe it's even worse now. So again, I can't get on the Saints. I don't think there's no bump. I think they got bigger problems than just getting rid of the coach here.
All right, fair enough. I'm waiting on this one, but I have a disagreement because I'm going to be on the Saints here just because it's the division dog, and I know that you can't say coaching matchup now, but dude, I don't really like Ricky Morris that much. I don't think he's
listen, that's fair enoff. I get that.
All right, this is gonna be a fun one, and I will say that there's just so many guys on IR.
How about if you're liking the Saints here? I think probably a team total over would be a play for people. Like if you're worried about the 3.5, like maybe they don't cover the number. The defense is still bad. But if you think it's a change, it'll be right. You think you get an offensive bump, maybe. Like if the team's gonna show up, they have to score points.
Yep, so I agree.
Maybe that's a safer way to attack this game.
I agree with you there. Broncos, Chiefs minus 7.5, total 42. Now, you see what I said earlier. I was half kidding, but the truth is that the Chiefs put themselves in danger a little bit because of it just takes one mistake when you're sitting up by 3 and there's 5 minutes left. You're just trying to get first downs if someone coughs the ball up and all of a sudden you're chasing, that happens too much. I took the Broncos plus 9.5. Is it a spot where I think they're going to win? I'm not sure, but here's the thing. Now that I got 9.5, I'll probably tease the Chiefs down to -1, -1.5 with something, just as a protector bet for another thing. That worked well for me last week, and I doubled up on all 3 of the things, man. I think that's a good way to sports bet, especially if you're getting -120 or better. -110, I still get in some places. Teasers for 6 points. So, that's the way I'm playing it most likely. But I still think I still would take Denver at plus 7.5 just because of the way the Chiefs play. And this ain't the same Broncos. You got a Broncos team that was embarrassed last week, and it's Sean Payton. And I, of course, would put Andy Reid over Sean Payton. But the Chiefs have a lot to look forward to with Buffalo next week. They're kind of just coming off the win, just coasting last week. More flattish for the Chiefs. It's 7.5 is hard to cover. I'll still take the Broncos at plus 7.5 for a play on the show.
I didn't grab the 9.5s, and I should have because I took the Broncos last week, and even when the line reopened up the same, I didn't grab it because it's just a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, these guys, this is what happens. Rookie goes on the road, plays a good team, he gets blasted. But I'm still with you here on them. Like I didn't take it, but I'll gladly jump on the points here. Denver still has a defense. The score last week's a little misleading, kind of, stuff blows out of proportion. They still play defense. Kansas City still, again, you say little dilly-dallying around, not explosive. It's right there for the back door. Under for me, obviously, always a look here with Kansas City. Denver the same. I would go under first for me, but I like the points as well. Both
great unders. Yeah, definitely. The Chiefs are really good unders team this year. So there you go with that.
I think this would be like their Charger game. It'll be something ugly like 17-9 or something along those lines. Like just an ugly game.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with I already went with the Broncos. I'm going to move to the next game is what I'm trying to say. Let's move to is it Titans here? No, it's Steelers. I'm going by time, not by rotation number. It's just easier for me.
Yeah.
Steelers versus Commanders. Commanders are -3. The total is 45. I'm going to let you go first on this. I do have a play on it, but we'll see if we line up or if we disagree.
I just came in on Washington myself. This team just wins games. And I know it's a rookie versus a Tomlin defense, and the Steelers, it's just whether it's 1983, 93, 2003, 22, there's always a defense in town for them. But Washington's punted the ball, 16 times? Like they do not get off the field. They find ways. Granted, it's not, they don't have a great schedule. It's not like they're beating, defensive world beaters and stuff like that. But Quinn, he's a defensive guy himself. I think they'll be able to keep Russ and the Steelers in kind of line. And let's be honest, Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson's on his team for a reason. Justin Fields is his backup for a reason. They have not been producing, right? So are we going to be shocked if this is kind of like a low-scoring kind of game here? It turns into a defensive game, even though Washington scores a ton of points. I think Washington kind of pulls it away late. It'll be I think this could be like a 24-14 kind of game, believe it or not. I think Washington actually wins by a margin. I think it could be like a 10-point win for them.
Interesting. The thing about the Steelers is, did you get 2.5?
3. I laid 3.
Oh, you laid 3.
There are 3. There was the 2.5s. Actually, I got a 2.5. But I do have a 3 because the 2.5 I think was a 120 and the 3 was a flat. So a couple sites had different numbers.
I understand the 2.5, but I like the Steelers at 3. So
3, yes.
I like the Steelers, but I don't love them. Here's the thing. They did lose to Anthony Richardson back on September 29th, and that's a mobile quarterback. So I am worried about that. I hope they learned something from that game because how did they lose to the Colts, really? And the Colts are not that good of a team. They kind of danced through the Broncos a little bit, more of a defensive effort, but I will say that the Steelers defense is ferocious and TJ Watt is amazing. And Washington hasn't even really freaking played much of a defense. When they finally played a defense in the Bears, which is pretty good.
They need a Hail Mary.
They had a freaking Hail Mary. They got 15 to 18 points. They just kept kicking field goals all day, and if you're going to tell me that Steelers can stop them enough to just kick field goals, I'm fine with that because that means I think my +3 is live in this situation. It's not my biggest play, but it is in Washington. Typically used to be at least not the greatest home field advantage for them. Russell Wilson's playing with some poise now. It's kind of like he's got a little bit of a second birth. I like the fact that they made a move for Mike Williams. Now, Mike Williams hasn't done anything for the Jets, but that's just because of Aaron Rodgers and his crybaby drama going on over there, man. Those dudes are nice.
It's not his friend. He won't throw him the ball.
Hey, it's not his buddies from his 2019 Packers team, right? I mean, that's literally what's going on there. I think some serious psychology going on with Aaron Rodgers over there. But man, the Steelers. I mean, the numbers for me don't have it at 3. I don't have a 0.5 or better. It may be a home field advantage for Washington. So the numbers just don't make it for me. I'm taking the dog. Not a super convincing play though. It's okay to have disagreement too. I love disagreement because we're not a show, and it's very important to express that. Let's move on to the Niners Bucks. Bucks +6, total 50.5. You alluded to this one a little bit. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's I wish Tampa was healthy because when the offense is going, this is a good team. Like Baker, here's another guy. It's not a bad team. He goes somewhere else and he's putting up points and touchdowns and looks like a halfway decent, serviceable quarterback. This is, San France, where they come out their bye week here. This is a tough one. I don't know what to do with this one. I haven't moved on this game. Part of me wants to do a under because of the injuries on both teams. But they've played enough without the guys where we still see them producing points. I mean, Tampa's still putting up 30 a game with backups. And on top of that, it's like Baker. And maybe Purdy was benefiting from having all the toys around him. So do I want to lay these points here? I really don't. Do I want to take Tampa? I'm torn here.
No, I think it's a good line. I think it is a pretty good line. I mean, under 5, I like the Niners a little bit. I think this is a money line parlay with the Niners and somebody else. If something's not big enough to tease, you look for a -260. Put them with a -250, 260. You're getting better than -110 on that.
Yeah.
So those are better than teaser situations. I gotta figure out a contest play later in the week, just like you do. And the Niners are in consideration because they're coming off the bye, because they're healthy. And Baker Mayfield without those 2 wide receivers, he'll get smashed by Bosa just trying to find somebody open, man. And the Niners, it's Cade Otton really is what they're going to put all their hopes on. But the Niners have been pretty good at guarding tight ends. And dude, is Drake Greenlaw back now? He's been gone all season. If he's back. Oh man, I don't know if he's back. I gotta check.
I don't think he's gonna be back.
Okay, he's been gone for a while, and I know that he was coming off IR. Let me just it says head coach Kyle Shanahan says he's not expected to be ready until
it
after.
doesn't. That don't even make
after the bye. They said after the bye, but yeah. I'm going to say it's a pretty good line. That's fair enough. I think there's no more reason to talk about it from a totals perspective at 50.5. I actually leaned the under because Baker's got no way to throw it.
Yes, it's an under. Besides the fact they're off short week on Monday night and a tough OT loss to boot. I mean, it was like a battle. Not like you play Monday night and get your butt kicked. Who cares? We knew we were going to lose. We're going to regroup. We're going to come out here more focused the next game. they battled back in that game. It wasn't like they took a lead, they were down, they came back, tied it. I mean, and a tough loss. I mean, so Baker at the coin flip, he was like, oh, like they're annoyed. I could see them getting run out of here with no offense. I could see it just being like a 30-10 kind of game or something. So I'm actually thinking myself into taking San Fran here.
Of course you are. Tampa's always been really good at home, but I don't know if that matters.
It's just a bad spot for them. Well, I mean, short week, overtime. Teams off a bye week and have played bad, and they're defending conference champions. What are we doing here?
Terrible spot for. I agree with you. Bears, Patriots. We don't got to talk about it. I just need to mark you down. Would you take
Patriots? I'm taking the Patriots. I'm taking them already.
Okay, I'm gonna have a strong lean to the Patriots +6. I'm gonna sit there and wait a little bit longer, but strong lean to me, Patriots +6. I think there's some serious problems with the Bears locker room. Titans, Chargers -7, total 39. I'm just telling you, I'm teasing the Chargers down because they're the Chargers and the Titans have been absolutely terrible. Although I do like Mason Rudolph a little bit, but is Will Levis even playing this game? I have no idea. I like Rudolph more than Levis. But I also don't like laying points with a guy like Harbaugh who just likes to win the game, kind of like Andy Reid. He doesn't care about the margin. He's not going to care about your bets. He's just going to want to win and stay healthy in the NFL. I don't get me wrong. I've seen him put one on a team. It was Notre Dame back a year or two ago in the rain. He just couldn't stop scoring. I think he was pissed off at some reason. But at the same time, Harbaugh can win by 1 or 20. It doesn't matter to him. I'm teasing.
I'm with you on the tease. I took them and the Eagles. Actually, I teased down to a 1 with the whatever they were. We'll talk about that second.
So did I.
But I did take the Chargers -6.5, and I have under 39 in this game as well because I think the Titans, as good as they got a defense, but the offense is not there. And again, this could be a typical Chargers game, 17-9, 23-6. Like I just see it just being low scoring, ugly. But I do think the Chargers cover, even a touchdown here. I think it opened up at that. I'm like, sevens. I had a shot for a 6.5, but even at 7, I'm grabbing them. I'll grab them at the 7. Something tells me they get it done here.
Eagles, Cowboys +7 now. It was 7.5, total 43. Who the hell's betting the Cowboys? Yeah, I know Cooper Rush is serviceable, but he's nothing like the Eagles have been very good lately because I'm teasing them too. This is actually my refuse to lose teaser. You stole my thunder, buddy. But no, it's funny. This is the only one I played so far this week. It sounds like we both played it. That's awesome. Total is 43 for a reason because the Cowboys, we don't know how much they're going to score here. Team total maybe under the Cowboys. The Eagles defense has shown better lately. Why is CeeDee Lamb even consider playing this game?
He's not playing. He can't be playing. I had Cooper Rush, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. He went into Minnesota and won at Minnesota when Minnesota was pretty darn good. But he had a full complement of players. He had CD. He had running backs that actually ran the ball. He didn't have a bad offensive line. He had a good defense. They don't have any of that now. The defense is not good. They got a new coordinator. I mean, Parsons great. The problem is he doesn't fit this defense. They still have no running backs. CeeDee Lamb has one arm. I can't. No, there's no way I'm even thinking about taking Downs here.
Is Parsons even playing still? We don't even know that.
He's supposed to be, but even the fact of the matter is that the defense is bad with him because it's a whole new defense that they don't fit into. Yeah. That's why the defense is bad.
Yeah, it is.
The offensive line's brutal.
Because Dan Quinn left, you're right. That is a massive thing. And obviously Trayvon Diggs, he was limited too. He was just so much banged upness. The Cowboys are done. They're not making the playoffs. They're done for the season. I think they know it. Their offensive line's terrible.
They were an under team for me to start the year. I said they got offensive line problems, no running back and one wide receiver, new coordinator. I said they're not winning 10 games. Or they need 11, I think, to cover.
Yeah, I mean maybe the team just rallies and tries one more time this week, but it's probably I see that they could definitely quit on this one if they're down. It's I would possibly play the Eagles at the -7 at least in the contest. If I unfortunately have quite a few contest picks, so that's the tough thing. All right, Jets Cardinals +1.5. Totals 46.5. I'm refraining off this one because I do have a play that I gave out that I like, so I'm going to refrain off saying this. But I will say that. Last week, it was more about the Bears being bad. I will say that. But the Jets, at the same time, they should feel so good about beating a Texans team that is terrible on the road statistically and great at home statistically. The Texans are a great home road split betting fading team. So
Yeah.
the Jets do have the extra rest, but that's all I'm going to say. What about you?
Yeah, I would just look. I mean, I haven't moved on this game, but the extra rest gets me, and the fact that Arizona has just been such a up and down Jekyll and Hyde, right? I mean, let's play Buffalo. Play Buffalo tough. We lose to Washington. We lose 2013 to the Lions. We're going to go on the road to beat San Francisco. We put 40 up on the Rams. I don't know what I'm getting out of these guys. I don't know what I'm getting out of them. And as much as Aaron Rodgers is an absolute nut job, I still think the talent is there on that team. I lean Jets. I haven't moved on it, but extra rest in the NFL this time of year, I think it's important. And a guy for Rodgers, as much as a nut job as he is, I think he's got to have his guys we got to win some games here. And as I mentioned earlier, the schedule lines up for him to at least roll off 3-4 in a row, maybe more. 5. They should beat Miami on the road. They should beat the Jags on the road. I mean, you could win 6 in a row here before Buffalo in December. So absolutely. I'm gonna lean Jets.
All right, fair enough. Leaning the Jets for Sean. Lions Texans. We got a night game. Texans plus 3.5. Total 48.5. What do you have for this one? It's interesting because I'm just watching the Nico Collins drama. He wasn't spotted at practice on Thursday. That's a little worrisome. But I just kind of said the Texans are better at home. What do you have for this one?
I got the Lions minus 2.5. I took them. What's it up to now? 3.5. I had 4 even. I do.
It was at 4. It's back to 3.5.
That's just on the Nico news. Maybe he plays. I don't think it makes a difference, man. I think the Lions. I thought coming season they were the team to beat. It's at their feet to win the NFC. Beat this team. The Texans got some offensive line problems. I know that we know Diggs is out and whatever Collins. And let's be honest, this is the feel good team for this year. Everybody's all over. Oh, CJ Stroud last year, he's great. Look at him. You know what? Welcome to year 2. Your numbers are not last year's number. You watch this guy play. I mean, he just chucks it down the field, hoping for miracle 47-yard catches. It worked out last year. Hasn't worked out this year as much. I'm not a Texan guy. I'm going to take the Lions in a rout.
A rout.
Yeah, I mean a rout. I think they win by like 10 or something. I mean, Texans probably score a few, but the Lions. I don't know. I think it's their year, man. I really do. I'm not some Lion homer kind of guy. I mean, I got a Randy White helmet back there signed. I got my dad's old Redskin helmet. There's no love for me for any NFC North teams, but I don't know. Give me. I'm anti-Houston. The team that everybody loves, I'm always against. And that was the team to start the year. Everybody loved the Texans.
Well, everyone loves the Lions now.
Yeah, but I look at that as I was on that from the beginning because you know what? That's at the beginning of the year, they just looked that good.
All right, well,
it's not fair. I shouldn't say that. If you're on from the beginning, you're good. I should clear that up because it's not like it's like the trendy pick, right? Like last year's trendy pick. Let's remember, Kiev. Everybody loved the Jaguars, right? Oh man, the Jaguars. They played a good game against Kansas City one year, and they're like, oh, the Jaguars are going to be the team this year. Watch out, right? Right. Everybody's pick last year was the Jaguars. Whose pick was this year? It was Houston, and to a lesser extent, the Green Bay Packers.
No, I know.
No.
I need to wait for more injury information. I would lean Texans. I lean the Texans because of what I said with home road splits, and this is the spot where they do have to show up. The Lions' defense, I still think. Maybe it's not needed as much, but there's going to be one point where they're going to cost them a game, and the offense is just going to sputter up. It's just going to be one of those, what the hell? The Lions just lost to Tampa Bay Bucks at home. It's just going to be one of those that's coming, and it comes for everybody. This is the NFL. I think it could be this week, especially because they, just got done with a big Packers win, and it was in the rain, which was a very strange game. The Packers kind of choked that one away with that pick six Love threw early, and it was just kind of smooth sailing for the Lions after that. But I'm leaning the Texans right now. What about the Monday nighter, Dolphins and Rams? And the Rams are at -1 now. They were at 2 earlier, total 50. They're actually at 2.5 earlier, but I think some injury news kind of went bad for them.
Yeah, I took the Rams early at -2.5. I thought this was a good spot. Not liking the number now, although I do got a Miami teaser. I took Miami in a teaser.
Yeah, there you
also,
go.
I got them in the Chargers in a teaser. But I like the Rams. I just look at it as, I think, coaching edge for the Rams. And it's this team. Are we really loving this Dolphin squad?
No. Did you see how easily Buffalo moved the ball down the field? You know, maybe an over. Now Rob Havens was the other right tackle that went out. And they also lost Jonah Jackson and Connor McDermott earlier, but they've been playing on this squad for the most part for a while, and they're just going to have to step it up a little bit again. You know what? I'm going to give out the Rams -1 because I also took them at -2, and I have a bad number, but it is what it is. I also might tease the other side. I'll find a 1.5 and move the Dolphins past 7. I think an overplay might be even making more sense in this situation. It's under the key number of 51, and this is played in a dome here in LA. The Dolphins, after that loss, they're not quitting yet. They got the studs there. They got the stars at wide receiver. They still have a great offensive play caller, with McDaniels there. I'm leaning towards the over here, and the numbers won't even show it because of all the injuries with Tua. But it's just one of those situations that you have to say, Tua puts on another 10 points to this team. He'll put on another 10 points. Yep. He's that good compared to what they had.
Yes.
Good, so. You always have to reference that, but geez, man, I don't see why this can't be just a massive shootout. And you also have to understand the Rams have been massively injured too until last couple weeks, without the receivers. So I'm looking at the over. You know what? Screw it. Over 50.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm with you on the over. I mean, look at both of these defenses and offenses put up points.
Yeah, I'm on the over here for sure. Over 50 for 2 stars. I like this play.
I don't know about you, Kev. Like NFL, I see things that start out at 50 pluses. I automatically look at overs. I'll automatically just almost like auto play on them based on it's the NFL, and that's just a big number. I mean, forget about the key numbers. Like we talk about like 51, and just this is a better endurance long time. I see 50 in NFL. That's kind of like not a sacred cow kind of thing, but it's just a number you don't see all that much, So it's not like saying it's getting to 48 or anything. This is literally a consideration for a lot of people in the marketplace, being that it's sitting here at 50, which means it's going to go to 51. I think this is going to go to 51, especially on a Monday night, dude. You can do this. You can throw an extra unit on the over and then bet under 51.5, 52. 51 is a common number. It's one of the most common. It's one of the most common numbers in all of football. So you can make your decision later. Let's take the over 50 for this podcast, and I think we're both on that. So I like that. I love coming up with plays when we're doing this. It makes total sense to me. But that moves us to our beer bet bangers, my man. And you have a juicy one for us. What do you have? Well, I got a couple here, and we're talking about the Lions. I got a Goff MVP to start the year because I thought, what? They were favored coming into the season like 15 of their games. They have a great regular season. They win the conference. They get to the Super Bowl. It was 18-1. He's 9-1. Now, granted, there's a lot of love for Lamar, Josh Allen. I don't think. I mean, people are going to bet Mahomes, I guess, if he goes undefeated. We don't think that's going to happen. So
he doesn't have the numbers.
Him throwing 17 touchdowns and 15 interceptions might not get him there. I'm going to go with Goff. He's at 9-1, and I mentioned the Vikings to not to make the playoffs, right? It's 275. But if they do make the playoffs, I'm sitting on a 20-1 ticket from their head coach, Kevin O'Connell. Again, it's down to 9-1. He's off to a good start. Okay. If they continue to win, I think I'm in a good spot. Again, coach, coordinator, who knows where we're getting at, quarterback. There's that. And also, let's talk. I'll throw a couple Super Bowl ones out there for you in the chat here as well. Obviously, Detroit's plus 475, Kansas City 375. They're undefeated. You want to go Squarebees? We can go there. I did a Baltimore to start the year, and I got it at a lowly 5-1. It is now plus 850. I do not hate 850 on the Ravens. I think if they get to the championship game, even if it's not a home game for them, the taste is in their mouth from last year by just peeing that away. I mean, I don't want to start with that because that's it cost my son. It's like a year of tuition for my son when he goes to college. With those SOBs did it, like just stopped running the ball. I have no idea what the hell they were thinking. But at a plus 850, I'm gonna tell you to grab some Baltimore Ravens here for Super Bowl.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. That's great. I mean, Baltimore Ravens, yeah, why not? See if Lamar can do it. I mean, it's a great spot. I just worry about Lamar being a playoff quarterback.
But you know what? It changes a little bit with the players around him, and I think having Henry, and again, so far so good. He looks like he's turned back the clock. Keeps this up for a season. I think that kind of changes his whole dynamic, and he hasn't had a Hall of Famer with him on offense.
All right. Well, I'm going Jonathan Gannon, 20-1 at FanDuel for Coach of the Year. If he wins the division, he's going to be the hottest ticket. And that's what it is. Can you beat San Fran?
Yep.
Well, guess what, San Fran? You're probably going to beat the Buccaneers. You're probably going to beat the Seahawks at home. But then you got to go to Green Bay. Then you got to go to Buffalo.
Yep.
And then you have the letdown spot or whatever it's going to be spot at the hosting a Bears team that hopefully fired the coach by then. and then you have a Rams team that, I mean, the Rams always compete with San Fran, those two coaching matches, McVay and Shanahan. And then you got to go to Miami. So Miami's going to put up some points. And Miami remembers when they almost won and choked the game away in San Fran a couple year or two ago. And then you have the Lions at home, who's the best team in the NFC and maybe all football. And then you're going to finish off at the Cardinals. This game at the Cardinals could be the one that really shows it all. And guess who's leading in the NFC West? Oh, yes. The Cardinals at 5-4. So and you want to talk about schedules? Let's look at the Cardinals schedule real quick. I mean, I'm going to give Will Hill credit because he brought this up. I was on his show on Sunday, and he brought this up, and I thought more and more about it. And it made sense. They got the Jets this week, which is virtually a pick 'em, whatever. At Seattle, that's a winnable game. At the Vikings, I'll give them a loss. Seattle at home, if they don't win the other, then win this. Then they got the Patriots, the Panthers, the Rams, and then finally those Niners. I think that the Cardinals can win this division. And at 20-1, that's going to go to Gannon. The only other way you can think is Dan Quinn going to get it? Well, I think the Eagles win that division, and maybe the voters will do the same thing they did with Dayball. I don't know. I think Gannon at 20-1 is worth a shot for a beer bet.
Listen, 20-1. You look at the schedule there. You look at the Niners schedule. Even if they kind of win a couple, lose a couple, you're still at a 500 kind of record for both, right? Maybe 11-6
Sure.
or you got the division win under your belt. And 21 is a lot better than whatever you're going to get off of Quinn. Right? What's Quinn's odds?
Oh, I got to pull up again. I think I'm going to go to.
Hold on. Yeah.
It's under awards. Coach of the Year. Dan Quinn is way down there at plus 180. So they just assume that Dan Quinn is going to win it when Washington has already had one of the previous schedules. Let's put up Washington's schedule.
He's got 175 here, I see. Not worth a shot there. Definitely not worth. Even if they win out, I mean, 175 to me is not worth locking up for a few months.
It's terrible. And then you got the Steelers. You got at the Eagles, possibly 2 losses. Cowboys, you got to win. Titans, a win. At New Orleans, maybe a win. Then you got the Eagles again, probably a loss. Then you got Atlanta's probably a loss. And at the Cowboys, maybe Dak is back just for the last week to try
or if they've won those games, maybe they're not even playing there and it's a loss just based on that they're mailing it in for health reasons for a wild card game or something.
Very true. And this team has 2 losses. It's not like they're perfect. So, they're 6-7-2. They still could they still could choke up a little bit here. And if the Eagles win the division, they'll probably make the playoffs. But then you're going to say you're going to really not give it to Gannon, who beat the Niners. Here, it almost makes more sense for Gannon. I hope they don't get the East Coast bias. You've gotten that before, but we'll see what happens. And to be honest with you, it's Cliff Kingsbury. I think that's really doing it over there.
Beat the Jets. That'll help you. That'll help the Gannon thing if he beats Rodgers and the Jets this week. Again, that's the thing. Could the games they should win? Can they beat them? Right? Because you're a team you're a 500 team for a reason, right? Because you lost at home to Redskins coming off Washington off a Monday night upset win. You can't get them, and you get beat down. You got beat down like a dog at home.
Yes,
terrible loss.
Absolutely, Sean. Well, hey, man, we are out of time, man. You've been awesome as usual, Sean. Always my go-to guy. Where could our listeners get your great information in place for the week.
Yeah, so there you go. You got MrSeanHiggs on the X. You can find me there. I do midday money 7 days a week. You can find that on YouTube. I tweeted out there on the X as well. And you mentioned winning free picks. Check me out over there for premium stuff. I do a live show, Football Fridays, with Mark Lawrence and Victor King. Let's find that on the X as well. And I mean, you know what? Listen, follow me on Twitter. I tweet out all. And my timeline's not filled with a bunch of actually, it is nonsense. Sometimes I put out some 80s baseball cards, but other than that, it's just show links and random comments about mayonnaise. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Random comments. We love it, man. Make sure you guys check out Sean Higgs.